Hey guys, Rowan here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Mercutio 40% keyboard. So this is a relatively budget keyboard that comes in at around $50 US, and it comes with plenty of features such as this OLED here, the rotary encoder, and yeah, this is my first real DIY build that had me soldering everything, and it was pretty painful if I'm being honest. I'll get more into that later, but ultimately I'm really happy with the finished product. So materials and design, there's a acrylic bottom and top plate, and this acrylic shield here, which is clear so that we can see all this cool stuff going on here. One thing that's unique about this board is the diode array here. Normally with keyboards, you'd have the diode right next to the switches, or the switch the switch pins. But here you have a bunch of traces running all the way up so that all the diodes can be in a neat little array here, and it's very nice, but that does mean that there's a lot more traces that you can scratch, which I did. That's totally on me, but just keep that in mind. I was able to fix it just by running a wire from the switch to the diode. Thanks to the people on the MechWild Discord for helping me figure that out. Anyways, yeah, I guess we can get into the keyboard itself and do a quick sound test. So yeah, these Gateron Milky Yellows feel really great in this board. They're unlubed, they're completely stock, and they still feel very smooth. They're a little bit louder than a lot of switches, but that's fine. Yeah, I'm overall really happy with this board. Also, I'm really happy I had these keycaps laying around. I think they go perfect with everything. And yeah, there's a little OLED. Right now it's displaying the Mercutio logo, but it'll also give you any information you need, like if you're on a certain layer or if you have caps lock on, it'll tell you all that stuff. Then we also have our rotary encoder here, which controls my volume and mute button. So yeah, I guess we can go into the build process now, which was quite the experience. Alright, so the building process of this was pretty painful. It took me one night, but there was a lot of work and I just made a lot of dumb errors that I shouldn't have made. First of all, I haven't soldered in about 2 years, so it took me a little bit to get used to it, and you can probably tell some of the earlier soldering jobs I did on this board just were really bad. I did start to get a lot better over time, but still the soldering was just a little bit shoddy. Yeah, after that, most of it went smoothly, and then once I got to the diodes, that just became extremely tedious. That probably took me an hour and a half, maybe more, of just sitting there and putting these diodes in the board. That was very not fun. And then I didn't really know what to do after finishing the PCB. I tried just putting the PCB in without the switches, and I was just trying to get an idea of what I should do next. So I got my stabilizers out that I ordered, and I ordered plate-mounted stabilizers, which was really stupid. I should have looked into it more, but yeah, now I have some plate-mounted stabilizers sitting around, and there's probably like 30 minutes worth of footage of me just messing with stabilizers, trying to get it to work somehow. And yeah, that never ended up working, so ultimately I had to take apart my Tokyo 60 build and take the stabs out of there. Just because with this board, if I wanted to take stabs out again, I'd have to desolder a bunch of stuff and it would just be a massive pain. The Tokyo 60 is just completely hot swappable, so I can just get stabilizers down the line. And the PCB just looks cool on my shelf, so I kind of like it. Other than that, yeah, oh well, that wasn't the end actually. So there's something about this, I don't know, maybe it's the plate, but putting these switches in, I couldn't feel if anything went wrong. So as it turns out, a lot of the pins actually bent, and I guess I was just completely blind when I was soldering, and I didn't notice this for some of the switches. And particularly, I think the U key was really bad. Like the switch was, or the pin was just completely like gone or something, and I just poured solder in the socket, which was just horrible. So I also didn't know how to desolder switches really. I was just trying to absorb it all with a wick, which is not what you're supposed to do. I wasn't like applying any pressure to push it out. I thought that I just had to absorb it all first, which was really bad, and I'm really lucky I didn't completely destroy the padding. I probably did to some extent, but after looking up a quick tutorial, it took me about 2 seconds to take the switch out. So yeah, that whole thing was just really dumb. But yeah, that key works now. On top of all that, I didn't have anything to clip the ends with, and it made me really anxious because a bunch of the ends of the diodes looked like they were just about to touch. So that was really worrying. So I went to my school the next day where they had like soldering equipment and all that to clip everything with a friend, and somehow one of the traces ended up scratched. So that whole night I was talking with the MacWild Discord, which I highly recommend you join. They were very helpful, and I was able to figure out a fix to get around this. I ended up routing a jumper cable from the switch to the diode, which I don't have any footage of actually, and I'm way too lazy to unscrew all of this and show you guys what I'm talking about. But yeah, anyways, it's all working now, it's all together, so I guess we got there in the end. It just could have been a much faster process. Yeah, I'd still totally recommend you do this. Like, I'm not regretful at all. It's just been a good learning experience for any future DIY builds I do. If you're interested in buying this board, the link will be in the description, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time.